For anybody who isn't aware of who you are, would you like to give an introduction?
Sure. My name's Bob Noxious. I'm a musician. I live in Tampa, Florida. Been here most of my life, originally from Tennessee, but that has no bearing to what I do now. But ultimately, I own a recording studio now. I play in a few bands. I'm doing exactly what I thought I'd be doing at my age. When at age 17, I had like this vision of like who I wanted to be, and by God, here I am. So
everything's going according to plan.
Just perfectly.
Nice.
That's
swimmingly.
That's pretty dope. Like, I imagine there's a lot of people like growing up, they're like, oh, I want to be this and this, who don't get to achieve that. So that's solid.
I mean, as a musician, is it not every musician's dream to have their own little spot to record, or is it just me? But
no, I think we've all had that thought.
Yeah. It's either that, or if you're like into fitness, having your own personal gym. Those are always like the two biggest things.
Right.
So, but you're doing it. You're really doing it. I love the studio. It's a fantastic little space. It's called Underground Sound Studio. So if you guys aren't familiar.
Yeah, Underground Sound Studio. It's based out of Tampa, Florida. Opened up in 2022. More so out of a necessity than a need.
Oh, really?
But during the pandemic, when everything shut down, or maybe I should back it up, as a lifelong Tampa musician, we always needed a place to rehearse, whether it be an HOA or you live in a condo or something like that. It's hard to rehearse at home. So we always had to go somewhere to rehearse. So whether, I'm not going to name any names, but, because they're my competitors now, I guess, right? And I'm still good friends with everybody who does all this, what I do, right? It's a good network of people, community. But what was I saying? I forgot. Edit this part out.
The necessity.
It came out of necessity, right? So when COVID came, we really had no place to rehearse because nobody wanted to go to a place that was shared by all the dirtiest musicians in Tampa Bay, right? So we got into like this storage shed, and homeless people lived there, and it was a horrible place, but it gave us the need, it filled the need of what we had, right, which was to keep making music. My band Pigpen, we've been together since 1996. This would be the 30th year, right?
Yeah, on the
probably celebrate. We just needed a place to rehearse, and we didn't let the pandemic stop us. We weren't scared of each other, so we got this storage shed, and that was good for about a year and a half or so until, the place got bought and sold a few times, and ultimately they were purchased by corporate America, and they said, what's going on here? You guys got to all get out, right? So we had no place to go, and I had to amass this collection of gear because, by the time that, over the 18 months there, we shared the space with several bands because my drummer, Adrian, plays in almost every punk or hardcore band in Tampa Bay right now. So it just, through his bands alone, it just funds, that place, this place, Thanks, guys. But just through that, I put a back line in there so nobody had to bring stuff. And when we had to leave, I had purchased all this gear. And then I had to take it all home, and I put it into my studio at home, and then suddenly there was no room for either of the two studios. So put us at a crossroads of like, well, what do I do with all this gear? Got to find a new place. Nobody wants to rent to musicians. I mean, just ask around. Everybody wants a place to jam for their own band permanently, but the prices are astronomical. You got to have 10,000 square feet or get the fuck out. So it's just real difficult. So, for probably about a month or three or however long it was, kicked around looking at spots and really just getting to the point where, I had to lie about the story. I had to stretch the truth. I couldn't say, I'm a responsible adult and I want to rent this building. And by the way, we're going to make some loud music for a couple hours. A few times a week, we'll be respectful, right? You'd think that that's good enough, but, it would be better if I had said that I was filming pornography or had OnlyFans or some kind of casting couch going on where there might be a video session, and don't worry about us, we won't be making any noise. That would have been okay.
Well, don't roll it out either.
So ultimately, I found this place, and I was up in New York for work, and I'd been searching on this website for commercial spaces and not having much luck, and this one popped up, and I wasn't having much luck on even getting the realtors to respond to me. And, just over time, why even bother, responding to these people trying to find a space? By the time that they respond, it's going to be too expensive anyway. I found this place, came and checked it out. Like 2 days later, I told her I was up, I'm in New York. I really want to see this. She said, yeah, no problem. You're the first person who responded because it just went up. I was getting notifications. And I won't be able to show it to anybody until you return anyway. So if you can meet me first thing when you get back. So I came with a pocket full of money, not sure how much money I needed, just knowing it was going to be more than what I was used to paying at this storage unit. But I had in my head, it's like I got all of Adrian's bands that can cover, most of the rent, right? And if we can get a few other people, it'll work out as well. So short story long, I'm giving my spiel, right? I meet her, and I figured it was the owner of the building who was like kind of circling and orbiting around this very room. As I'm talking to her, and I mentioned, there might be some music every now and then. And the guy, he suddenly, obviously listening, turns around quickly and he says, "You play music?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, a little bit, And he's like, "What kind of music?" I'm rock and roll, trying to keep it real low key, right? Because I don't want to, burn this bridge. Because I'm looking around, I'm like, this could be perfect, man. Standalone building. He's like, "You can be as loud as you want to." And I'm like, "Really?" He's like, 24 hours a day. And I'm like, "Oh, shit. How much is this place, right?" So he ended up being pretty fair about it. It was, about 5 times what I was used to paying at the storage shed. And then it was just me signing my name to it versus, the few people who had their responsibilities attached to that other space. But moved in and quickly turned it around. For recording, I've always recorded my own bands. Pigpen's put out countless, records and CDs and on Spotify and all that. And over the years, I would record my own guitar parts. I couldn't really record drums because I lived in a condo or I didn't have the right space and didn't really know what I was doing, to be more real about it, right? But, just through COVID, I kind of like mastered something, and that was because we had this recording space and everybody had this free time. We would go to this storage unit, and that was life right there, man. So really got to pour a lot into it. I had some good basic fundamental AV knowledge through my job. The fundamentals of audio. Doesn't matter whether you're doing broadcast, whether you're doing rock and roll bands live or in a studio, just gain structure and all that. So I already had that basic foundation, and through COVID got to practice it up, and ultimately when I got this building, just turned it into the ultimate mecca of what I wanted. Me personally, my 40 years in the trenches of Tampa Bay, I wanted, this was the space I wanted to work in, right? So fortunately, it's a pretty dope spot, right? And I put a lot of love and effort into it and spent countless hours just sitting here looking at it, obsessing, like, how do I make this place better, right? I never want to leave, but that's the possibility of things, right? It's just a little spot, and the owner, cool dude, he's getting up there in age. He's a few years older than me, I guess, maybe 10 years older, but he's getting up there. What's he going to do with this thing? He's about ready to cash in and retire anyway now, right? So, anyway, yeah, that's the studio, man. So, been here since 2022, undergroundsoundstudio.com. I just updated my website last night and kind of pushed the updates.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
Yes. I've had a lot of free time on my hands lately because I lost my corporate AV job, which led to a lot of free time. So it's a good thing. So I've been working on my website, undergroundsoundstudio.com. It's been up for a while, but literally just pushed the updates today. So I don't know how many listeners that you guys have by all the random people that hit the website.
We apologize for the lack of those that you'll wind up having.
We're getting. I think I was at it this morning. I was like 15
nice.
people, and I was like, okay, that's a start. It's not nothing. That's for sure. I need to put a pause on this real quick. I have to take a phone call.
Sure. Yeah. I'll sip some caffeine. Clean. Teddy wins the next.
Do you need to do like another little figure snap thing, or are you doing it okay?
Cool. All right. I think we should be good. We got golden. All right, cool.
Good.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Where did we last? Where were we last?
Let's start back from the beginning. The story of Bob, your musical journey.
I think we talked about through, just how we got here to this spot. As a brief overview, kind of, 40 years in the trenches, and got the studio open.
What is prior to the studio, Bob's origins in the music world?
Bob's origins in the music world stretch back to 1985 when I traded my roller skate. No, wait a minute. No, I had two significant trades. Can't remember which ones. And I should know this one better. Let's just say I traded something for my first guitar. Right?
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. And quickly learned how to play a bar chord and how to tune a guitar. Didn't know how to play anything.
Yeah.
My friend Todd Alt taught me that at age 15. I might have been 16. I just gave myself away. But he's a customer to this day. Thank you, Todd. His band, The Strikes, was one of my first customers. Ironically, when I opened it up. Anyway, Todd at age 15, and I can talk about Todd later. But at age 15, I started playing guitar. Within a week, I think I'd started a band, and within a few months, I was playing shows. Sucked, but you know what? That's what you do, right? You got to pay your dues. So, did that through the late '80s and into the '90s, and by the early '90s, kind of pre-grunge and post-cock rock, hair metal. Kind of fit into like this, heavy metal, groove, I guess. Because being from Tampa, the death metal capital, we were more like a melodic metal band, and basically a lot of cool dudes, Jeff Fotolo, Patrick and Mark Rodriguez, Mike Browning. You guys know Mike Browning? Ron Miller. Both of those guys are drummers. First it was Ron, and then we had Mike, but that's in the 90s, and really my music career at that point, with those guys who were all, great musicians, got to be a part of some really cool shows. I'll say that. And then sometime after that, that band split up, and I went away to school for a little while. And when I came back, because I didn't like where I was at and I wanted to just be a musician, and my dad said I needed something I had to fall back on, so I went to school. Oh, yeah. Turns out this is what I fell back on.
Full circle.
Yeah. So I came back, and that's when I met Johnny Dweeb and Frankie Drunk, who collectively had this group that they kind of already established, but really just I wouldn't say they made a good name for themselves, if there was anything, but they were calling themselves Pigpen. So I met these guys, and they had Crack Whore Barbie already written, and they had Fuck Food already written, which those songs are on the first record that we put out. And I came in, and I came from like more of a very structured background of this is how you get shows, this is how you don't burn bridges, which those guys ignored me right out the gate, Yeah. But, it was music that was, at the time, this is probably about 96, in the mid-90s, all your Rancid, Green Day, Bad Religion, NoFX, punk rock was coming out, right? And we kind of fit into that groove with what we were doing, and quickly we put a record out, Bleeding, Drinking, and Stinking, and it was a 9-song CD that was 13 minutes long, and got us a lot of great gigs. We played the Warped Tour in 1997.
Oh, no shit.
We played again in, I think it was 2004? No, 2005. I remember this because my daughter was born like the day that we were supposed to play, actually the night before that we were supposed to play, and then the next morning when the day we were supposed to play, and I was like, sure it's boring here in the hospital. Everybody's okay, right? Just go.
So for a few
I got
hours.
to play the Warped Tour Orlando date the day after my daughter was born, so I had to haul ass back and forth to Orlando. But anyway, Pigpen, we put out 2 quick records, and had a lot of cool stories, and we burned a lot of bridges, not just locally, but, everywhere that we went. And we got to do some touring, we did some, East Coast tours, and we went to Texas, and we got all of our stuff stolen in Tennessee and got stranded there for like a week. And
Oh, shit.
A lot of great stories there, but anyway, ultimately the band kind of broke up, and I still had a bunch of songs that I had invested, right, by that time into the band. And, since then I've had some kind of incarnation of the band. And then about 12 years ago, which was the last lineup that was different people than what it is today, other than me, because I've been like the constant. What was I going to say? The 12 years ago, anyway, 12 years ago is when, the current lineup came together. I lost my train of thought.
That actually, I was wondering, I'm learning now, it sounds like you came on initially as like the last member of the already established Pigpen, and then it was
loosely established, right?
Okay.
So they hadn't really done any shows. They had just kind of like gone to shows, and in the name of Pigpen just, created a ruckus in a scene, right? And they might have had one or two, pizza parties that they played down at Junction Pizza before me. But anyway, so that version broke up, and then for a lot of years, Pigpen existed through the 2 records that I did with them, which consisted of about 25 songs. And it became kind of boring and stale, and that's why the then version I had kind of imploded, right? And then about 12 years ago, that's when I'm hopefully you edit this together into something that's more listenable than what I just talked to.
I mean, it already sounds pretty good.
By 12 years in, 12 years ago, I should say, Hambone, I'll call him. I'm not calling him by his real name. And Buster Hyman, I already told you that that's Adrian.
Oh, yes.
He plays with everybody else's band, too. Fucker. It's hard to do shows when your drummer plays with everybody else.
Well,
right?
it got you the rent, though.
What's that?
It helped cover the rent in the beginning, so.
Well, true, right?
I remember that back in like the TBHC days, like we get on for like a set, and the drummer would just stay there, and I always was like, is he just drumming for like everybody? And they're like, yeah. It was I think it was Jesus at the time, if I'm not mistaken.
Playing with who?
Oh my goodness, it would be
Slade and the Wasters, Rude Squad.
Scurvy.
Not my drummer. You talking about your drummer?
Yeah, no, not our drummer. God, I can't remember his name.
Adrian wasn't in the Scurvy.
Okay, but he was in the other ones?
I don't think he was in any of the TBHC bands,
Okay.
although we did a bunch of shows with TBHC.
Yeah. I remember we did like maybe 1 or 2 a couple of times. Did you ever play at Lucky's house parties?
No, but I've been to some.
Yeah. Those are fun. Well, good times. Sorry, sidetracked.
Well, with Brandon Fergus, he told me one day, and this has been 15 years ago probably now, that Pigpen was one of his first, like, as a young boy, one of the first shows that he really had a chance to see. And that made me feel really fucking old.
but honored at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good, but it's just like, damn, it does make you feel old. It's like, how old are you again?
But you guys have so much energy on stage, like every time. And then it helps too because you guys have the mask.
The mask.
Yes.
Let's talk about the mask, right? So, the mask started when our bass player, Brian Russell, who is the original bass player that recorded first. We'll call him, there's been other bass players that were before him. Matter of fact, we even sang about him in one of our songs, right? One of the early songs. But Brian came in to a show. He didn't even tell us. And at this time, I still had long hair that I dyed like purple or red or whatever color it was that week. And we played a show down in Ybor City at the Rub, which used to be a big deal, big stage, and played there. And he shows up with a ski mask and a pig snout on it, and everyone loved it. And he was wearing a jock strap only, and kind of a la G.G. Allen, right? And everyone loved it. And then next thing you know, the whole band's doing it at a photo shoot. And then next thing you know, it's like, we should just do this live, right? Well, it's fucking hot, right? So back in the early days of Pigpen, it really sucked having that mask because it was like so fucking hot, and it's brutal, and you go off stage and you just want to fucking die, right? And then now, all these years later, that curse is now a blessing in disguise, right? Because now we can still play shows, with the young kids or people who don't know, and people don't know who the fuck I am. I'm standing off by the sidewall over there, and then when it's my turn to play, I'll get back over there, put my fucking mask on, maybe take my pants off, and go play my show, right? And then, people are blown away when they're like, I didn't realize that was you.
No, that was the case for me because when we recorded, for people listening that don't know, Teddy, we recorded with Sendall our album here at Underground, and I was familiar with you through Pigpen, and then I actually learned about the studio through Dexter because we were trying to start a project, and then he learned we were looking for like rehearsal spaces, which, by the way, to what you were saying before about like it was like a super dope spot. Like I was blown away when we first came here. Like, oh, this is fucking awesome. First of all, you have the AC down, which I live for. I really appreciate that.
I keep it very cold in here.
Very cold in here.
Very cold.
I was the only one when we were recording the album that was like stoked about that. Everyone else was in hoodies and shit. But
leave me a bad review, please. Give me a 1-star review and tell me it's too fucking cold.
But it's killer. You have, like, I see on the TV, the plug and play. You have like all this like awesome equipment here that people can just use, or they can use their own. And you have, or at least you had the system here. I'm assuming you still do, where you can kind of like come in on your own, where you do the passcode and everything.
I run it kind of like an Airbnb. If you're, I'm sure everybody's familiar with that. You get online, you reserve where you want to go stay at for however long that you need it, and they'll give you a code. And what's the last thing you want to do when you go get a hotel is go check in with this shithead at the counter, right? Right, but if you know what you're getting, you don't have to deal with anybody. For us introverts like me, right? I don't want to go talk to those fuckers, right? I'll do it all online. If I can do that, that's perfect. So, like an Airbnb, you rent the space by the hour. You need a couple hours, whatever you need. There's a price for it. You go in there, you go through the checkout process, and I'll assign you a door code. Come on in. Let yourself in, do your thing. There's some basic rules to live by while you're here. Some things, please don't do this, otherwise I'm going to call you an asshole publicly. I actually haven't resorted to that yet, but I'm about to. How about that?
Well, I was curious about, like without naming names or anything, obviously, if you had run into any sort of unfortunate circumstances with people being disrespectful to the gear or the space or anything like that.
Not necessarily. Nothing that was anything that was a big deal. Certainly there's always something to complain about, people who, here's what I've learned. Nobody knows how to read simple things. If you look around and, on the amps, I had to like specifically spell things out. Like, if you disconnect this, and it sucks when you got like this little dyno thing. If you disconnect this, please fucking plug it back in, right?
Yeah, no,
Do they ever do that?
We had some sort of technical problem where we messed the lights up and we couldn't figure it out. I went, all right, now we owe Bob mode. I don't know what's going to go on, but somehow we got it sorted out. But I was very nervous using this stuff because this was like I have like the cheapest of the cheapest gear, and so I come in here and I see this. It's like I was taken aback. But
I did all the work myself, but my background is audio video. I started as an AV technician and worked my way up and through operations management. But I always had the skills of knowing how to connect point A to point B. So everything that's been running here, maybe a fire hazard, but it works. So everything is controlled remotely on my end. Yes, there's cameras of my own that are in here, and if you're to come into my space, just know there's going to be cameras there, right?
Yeah.
I'm not watching it, but when something's fucked up, I will go take a look at it.
Yeah, of course.
And I ask that if something breaks, just let me know. I get it, man. 10,000 people use this room. I wish. A lot of people use this room, and shit's going to break. I get it, man. Just let me know when it happens so I can take care of it, right? And so the next guy coming in doesn't go, this place sucks, fucking shit's broken, right? I got backups. I'll bring something else in, right? So anyway, just people don't let me know. They don't know how to read. Simple instructions like keep the fucking door closed. I literally had to keep the fucking door closed. I'm looking at it right now. on the signage. So the signage, I got signage in here because my background in audio video led me to where we are today with, all the technology, right? So I'm a technology nerd just in general. I like the latest device, right? I want it, right?
Yeah.
It's just, I'm a consumer.
Well, I know,
I'm told I'm a fucking horrible person for that, but whatever.
No, nonsense. As far as, cause I know you said, like, from your background with the job, with, like, your official, like, day job, that it kind of taught you some of these ins and outs. But as far as, I'm assuming that because you weren't specifically mixing and mastering, how you sort of, like, learn that aspect of things.
So I've always done the recording part of it, and the mixing and mastering part, I gained the foundational knowledge through my company, just through the company and the corporate training that we do. Not corporate training, that's a bad way to put it. The foundational knowledge for how audio works, right? Just, signal flow and sound levels. And I learned all that through work, and I've been a musician, so that was very helpful. That stuff I kind of knew but didn't understand, it was able to kind of come full circle through my job, right? What was your question again?
It was just how you sort of, if you learned the art.
Yeah, so I learned basically through work, the concept of audio. And then I started doing the mixing and mastering part of it. Because like I said, I've been recording my own guitar parts for years, bass vocal parts. I was always able to do that at home. The mixing and mastering part started when I got this place, really. I'd always kind of played with it and had some like templates to fool around with, but just using that foundational knowledge and just getting to work, because this space had to operate and it had to make money to stay open, and somebody had to fund that knowledge, right? So Thank you, Teddy, for you and the guys at Send Off for allowing me and us to use this space, right? And
it was
Dexter was one of my first clients as well. He came in here early on,
nice.
And and we go way back from the TBHC days, talking about those guys and. Talk about a hated group. Sometimes those guys are so hated, man. But I don't know why. I love all those guys, man.
I think it's just like everything just kind of came full circle. I think it got really big, and a lot of people want to be a part of it. And like not everybody was like the best person, and some people get incorporated even if they weren't actually affiliated, and they just kind of got out of hand to the point where there wasn't even the people who were really in charge of it. There wasn't much that they could really do towards a certain point, which I think is why it ended up disbanding overall, because it was just like, hey, like, it was a great movement, it was a great time, I loved every show I got to play with those guys, I loved every show I got to go with those guys, but I could see, like, it just, fizzling out, like most things, especially like the hardcore punk community, like things don't last forever. That's kind of the spirit of things in a way, right?
30 years Pigpen this year.
Yeah, baby.
Playing hardcore punk in Tampa Bay. And you know what? All 8 people that come and see us play, they love us.
No. Everyone, like anyone who plays or like is kind of in the scene to any extent around here, like knows and respects Pigpen. Everyone thinks you guys are awesome, which is correct. But if this is like a good pivot point, because if I'm not mistaken here, you also do sometimes assume the role of bass player, as Dexter and I do, in a band called The Vindicators.
Sure.
You want to give us some history on that?
Yeah, The Vindicators. Well, everything always comes out of necessity, Teddy. My drummer plays in every fucking band in town. So every time people ask me, hey, man, we'll play shows? Can Pigpen do a show? I'm like, I wish we could, man. Adrian's playing with whoever it is this week, right? So I started playing with another band, The Vindicators. They were known as something else. My name escapes me right now. They were called the Surfing Cretinos or Surfing Cretinos prior to my involvement.
And you fixed that name in a hurry.
Yeah, I didn't want to be associated with that. Come on. No, but anyway, so Jamie Forness is the singer, guitar player, and he and I worked together through my company for a very long time. So we were already friends, and never really had done anything musically together. And their band, and we'll get to the who's who of all that. They needed a bass player, and he's just like, "Hey, you interested in jamming?" And I was like, "Hey, yeah, that sounds like fun. I'd love to jam, right?" So out of necessity, I came, I want to do some. I want to play live shows, man. I like doing the live stuff.
Yeah. That's what it's all for.
So it came out of necessity, and so I started playing with Jamie. Jamie had a drummer, some guy, some old dude, man, played in the Misfits, Mr. Jim. Mr. Jim, he doesn't like. He never wants the recognition of it, so it's not like it's Mr. Jim and the Vindicators, or he's probably mad at me for even bringing up his name in this podcast. So,
well, I was going to ask because I'm like, I don't know if there's something where he's like trying to be like humble, and you don't need to mention that. Dude, but if you don't think he would mind, I was curious, like how he became a part of this and what his role with Misfits was.
Mr. Jim, for those who don't know. Certainly can look him up on Wikipedia, but he was the drummer in the Misfits. In his hierarchy, he might have been the second drummer. I know he wasn't the first drummer, but in 1978, I believe, he was the drummer, and at that point, I think he might have been a teenager still, or maybe a very young man, and played with Glenn Danzig and Franz Coma and the legendary Misfits lineup that actually never saw the record they did never saw the light of day until I think it was 1996, and I think it was Caroline Records that released all this back catalog of basically Danzig era stuff, right? Yeah. So Glenn Danzig, is all that stuff, right? So, so all the hits that he's pretty much the guy that was the drummer on them, right? Nice. So he's a very humble guy, right? And I'm like, you can go catch him in downtown St. Pete, probably playing trivia on a Wednesday night if you know where the spots are at. So.
Nice, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so Jim, a musician, just wants to get together and jam, and we get together in this very spot and rehearse and drink beers on a Saturday afternoon, and get a bunch of songs together, and we record them, and just like any other band, we're looking for shows. So you'll find us, the Vindicators FL on
Book the
Instagram.
Vindicators, I've seen them play. They're great. It's kind of like from what I remember, it was like a surf rock sort of feel.
Definitely surfy. Jamie likes, and we have another guitar player, Tommy. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Tommy, but both of those guys like hollow body guitars, and Tommy plays the Les Paul though, but in general he likes that style. So it's very surfy, very rock and roll, very punky. Certainly punk. It's got the backbone of old Misfits. So
were you about to say something? Was this like your first? Did you have any experience with bass making that switch, or was it like new to you for this band?
I've never been a bass player. I'm a guitar player by nature, and that's just what I've always played.
We won't hold it against you.
Looking for something interesting to do, when Jamie asked me, "Do you want to play bass?" I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be fun. Check it out." I really fell in love with the instrument, and now I've always had a bass just because I've always been recording, and I got to throw a bass line down, but it was always very rudimentary, and I never thought it was very good. I was just playing the guitar part, which I still do, right? But
that's my bread and butter, root notes.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I've learned my octaves, and I pretty much I know where I got to go. I can play the lead bass if I have to, but just trying to be tasteful and keep it in the pocket, right? I enjoy playing bass. I wish I could play more of it. The Vindicators, we don't play that often.
Yeah.
Well,
hopefully that changes. Like I said, the couple of times that I did have the opportunity to see you, I enjoyed it. You guys did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah. Which show was that?
There was at least one at the Mug, and then I'm trying to think where the other one was. It eludes me right now, but I've seen you guys play twice, and you delivered. I enjoyed it.
Hell yeah.
Hell
yeah.
So you have like 30 years of music experience in
40. Don't cut him
I
short.
apologize. Yeah, you know what?
That's all right.
Thank you for the correction. But I was gonna ask, like, you've been in Tampa within that same amount of time frame. So have you noticed a shift in like the music scene out here, or?
A shift in the music scene. I mean, that's an easy question. Yes, over 30 to 40 years' time, I've seen a lot of changes. Whether it's be the genres evolve and change, and people come and go, and then there's staples who last for eras, and I've seen the things that last, and I've seen flash in the pan, but what was the question again? Shit, I feel like I'm straying.
No, it's just I guess in addition to that, like, how do you feel about, I guess, like the music scene of like yesteryear versus like?
Okay, yes, right, yeah. I'm gonna get in trouble for this. I was trying to forget about it. I have always thought that the Tampa Bay music scene is divided, and I've attributed it to the fact that I've played in a really offensive punk rock band that had a bad reputation for a long time. Which it's fun to have a bad reputation, right?
Of course.
Until it costs you, right? So I feel like there is a divided scene in Tampa Bay. There is people, and it doesn't matter where you live, right? It's where you associate, I guess, right? Yeah. Or which side of the scene that you associate with. There's a side of the scene that's very, I'll just say it's very Gainesville sounding, all right? And there's a side of the scene that's very hardcore and punk. And for whatever reason, and I don't know where to lay the finger of blame, those two things don't really coexist. I see, and I have nothing against anybody, right? So, but I always see like this group, great shows, and I'll go see the shows, and I know all the guys, but we don't ever do shows together. It's like, why don't we do shows together, right? And then I got this other group of guys. Teddy, you're in this group, right?
Okay.
So you're not playing these shows. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. No, we're not. Yeah.
So I think I got this other group of guys, and everybody's like, "Oh, cool! Hey, man, great bands over here, great bands over here. We could all just come together." And that's really a big part of what I wanted to do with my studio here, and some of the revamp I've done with my website is really, I just want to make it a community hub. Certainly, I want you to be able to go there and with the click of a few mouse clicks, you can book your room like you always do. But I'm looking at putting like classified ads on there. That need a bass player. Somebody asked me the other day if they could hang up a flyer, and I'm like, I guess so. And it was like, well, maybe I should just put that shit online, right?
Yeah.
And where's the show at this week? There's a lot of people who are doing it, already who are keeping track of that already, and I'd like to partner up with those folks, and either give them access to my website or let me link to theirs, and so that way when people, I just want undergroundsoundsstudio.com to be an outlet, a hub where you can come to, promoters and gig information and all that kind of stuff, and it needs to be a place where we can all come together. So these people over here can coexist with this group over here, and holy shit, every once in a while, maybe these guys swap some shows out and something magical happens, right?
Yeah.
There's been some great scenes in Tampa Bay. Most notably, the death metal scene. You guys are probably too young for the original crowd of that, and I wasn't into that kind of music when it was happening, man.
Mm-hmm.
But it did turn me into liking heavier music. I think just being from Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So I've always really enjoyed heavy music. But to answer your question, I've seen just everything evolve and change over time. Venues, they come and go, man. Like, there's, everybody talks about this particular venue or that particular venue. Man, those were the days. That was great. Back in the day, right? Those places are here today. They're open, and nobody's going to go to those places to support the bands.
Yeah.
But if we could all just come together, everybody could succeed and thrive.
Yeah. Well, I was curious on that, if there was, to reminisce a little bit of like, where were some of the places that you guys kind of like got your start playing with Pigpen early on?
First show we played Pigpen was with the Brass Mug at the location when they were on 15th and Fletcher, which some, depending on how old you are, would call that the original location. But they actually existed kind of across the street, probably before most of us, were around. But regardless, Fletcher and 15th right there. Pigpen, 1996. I already knew Heather. Heather's been doing it that long. And I was able, through my existing past, from my musical past, was able to quickly just say, hey, Heather, I got this new band together. We're called Pigpen. It's kind of punk rock, Can you give us a date? She said, sure. I'm not sure if that was the one where Brian burnt the place down or Johnny pissed on the bar. Or Frankie drunk puked outside the front entrance. Those are all different occasions which led us to get banned for about 20 years.
Yeah. That's a big feat, too, to get banned.
I was very proud of the fact that I was banned from the Brass Mug because it became a joke where bands would reach out to us, hey, Bob, can Pigpen play with us? I don't know. What you got going on? We're playing at the Mug on this date and that. Yeah, I'll say in theory, we're down. Just ask Heather.
Well, I'm glad that it's water under the bridge.
I got back into Heather's good graces. It's been a good 10 years now. The Abortion Twins, of all people, got me back into good graces.
Yeah.
And the Abortion Twins put their good name on the line to Heather. This version of Pigpen isn't going to fuck you over, burn your place down, piss on your bar, or in your bar other than a toilet, and we're not going to vomit outside your front entrance. Although, maybe that's sprucing the place up. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it can't hurt. This is the mature Pigpen.
Yes, the mature version of Pigpen.
I mean, we'll still talk about fucking your mother. And
so it started because I was dating a girl in the metal scene. So I was welcome to come and drink in the bar, but Pigpen still wasn't allowed, right? One time, it's like 4 a.m. Brass Mug's been closed for an hour. We're in the bar drinking, doing shots with Heather and Rick, and I'm laughing, just being jovial. So, Heather, what's the worst band you ever had in here? I wish I'd remembered, so I could get it from her perspective. And then I was like, what about Pigpen? Were we, top 10? And she's like, probably. She's laughing, right? Were we top 5? Felt like we were getting closer, right? And I was like, are we the top 3 most hated band that's ever played the Brass Mug? She fucking I love you, Heather. She probably won't be listening. But her head exploded, right? And she threw me out. Get the fuck out of here! It was 4 o'clock in the morning. We were hammered doing shots, all right? And I scratched that raw, scab off, But anyway, since then, the Abortion Twins put their great name on the line. Good dudes. It said, hey, if Pigpen fucks this place up, we blame us, I guess, I mean, we've been able to play there ever since then. Any other band I was in, we were cool to play there.
Nice.
But Pigpen was not. So it was a badge of honor for a long time, for 2 decades, easily. Yeah. Well, 15 years maybe.
Yeah. No, that is a feather in your cap.
Something to be proud of for sure.
Yeah.
Was the intent always to kind of get like a really bad reputation when you guys were starting out?
Well, no, not my intent, right? Not mine at all. So, Frank and Johnny, who were the drummer and the singer, respectively, in the original lineup of Pigpen, good dudes, shitheads. They get fucked up. Their drug of choice was Mad Dog 2020, or more importantly, Richard's Wild Irish Rose, which is just some rock gut 7-Eleven wine, just for the sake of, let's get fucked up and feel like shit in the morning. Let's drink this. And, just turn them into kind of instant assholes. And they were proud of it. And I could never understand that. And it frustrated me because I was not into burning bridges. In my opinion, I was like, we wouldn't have even gotten these cool shows if we didn't burn some, I didn't burn bridges to get these shows for us initially, these initial run of shows, and quickly it was just like, yeah, fuck these guys, man.
I think it's like a fine line, because you want to have like an exciting sort of dynamic show and get some buzz, but at the same time you don't want to destroy the venue or like you say, alienate people or burn bridges.
We weren't really trying to do that. If we were a much bigger band, we would have had handlers, and those guys would have been taken away and ushered in when the appropriate time was. But instead, we were sleeping in vans. We couldn't play locally, so it was like, let's go on tour. People don't fucking know us out here.
Yeah.
So, younext thing you're sleeping in vans, and it's the same, run every day, and it's just like, what am I doing with my life? Just had a daughter. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, that's exciting, though, man. Like a lot of people, like you said, you still wound up, shit worked out. You're in the end doing what you wanted to do, and you have all these killer stories and memories, so I call that a win.
Thanks to you guys for helping me regenerate my memory and help me remember it later in life.
Oh, yes, there you
I'll
go.
save this on my podcast. I'll save this in my episode can or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
How is touring like? Like I asked, both. Because how many times have you toured? Let's start there, I guess.
I don't know how many times I've been on tour per se, which a proper tour, more than 10 days, maybe twice,
Okay.
right? Hopping in a van for a weekend or an extended stretch of times, 4, 5, 6 days, more than I can remember, because if you live in Central Florida, you're either playing a lot of local gigs in the Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater area, or you're expanding out and you're doing your Orlando, Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Miami occasionally run, and just, your Lakeland occasionally, you kind of start spiraling out. And certainly you can, just tour Florida as a local for a long time, right? You just got to be willing to get in the van or the car or however you get there and do that. But I get sick of Florida. It's fucking hot. I wanted to see experience something outside of a strip mall.
Elevation,
Right.
seasons.
So, you can start, as you spiral out, spiral out of your home base, I should say.
Maybe both.
Yeah, both ways. You start hitting your regional stuff in the Southeast and, playing shows and hooking up with bands. And this is the 90s, There was internet, and that is how we got our shows, or at least knew how to look into it, good old AOL, and then MySpace, helped us out. But, just going out and just doing shows, and the internet kind of changed everything over time, and just how people consume music. And now it's like going to go see a punk band play. It's like, please, no thanks.
I think that's kind of sad. I don't know. That's something that I noticed when I lived over in Virginia. Like,
It'll come back around.
Yeah.
It will.
Yep.
It's going to just take a group of kids with a great, set of songs to get that generation excited about it. So I went to the Lakeland Punk Rock Flea Market like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And a great group of guys that put that on. The guys in the Cutoffs put that on. Lakeland Punk Band. And it's, everybody's got their punk rock flea market. And I think these guys maybe are the originators, or the first ones I'd heard about doing it. But it's certainly the biggest. And so Sunday before last, woke up, what am I doing today? Oh, today's that punk rock thing, let me go out there. So I go out there, there's the usual couple thousand people out there, several hundred, whatever it is, right? And I caught Big Sad's set, which they're on this side over here, by the way. Great band. They sounded great, man. There were, I swear to God, 10-year-old kids that were moshing. Just, when I say 10-year-old kids, 10, 12-year-old kids. The bigger teenagers, maybe the 13, 14-year-olds, they picked up the little kids, and they're running in circles like the mosh pit. There was 2 furries there also. Seriously.
Nice.
But they were getting into it. And I got the video footage if y'all want to combine it, remind me. I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
What I didn't get on video, and I wish I did, was they did a wall of death. And they separated. And I wasn't paying attention at first, I'm going to be honest. I was kind of side stage. I wasn't into mosh pit. And by the time I realized what was going on, I couldn't get my camera ready in time. But they had divided everybody up. North end, south end, right? Boom, they all hit each other. I'm just like, I cannot believe what I'm seeing. It was like, do they teach us at rock school? School of Rock? Is this what Girls Rock Camp does? Because first of all, how do they know that? But they were all having a great time. So it could come back around again, Dexter.
I have some hope for it. I did some security at a venue not too far from here, and I saw Necro Goblin play, and it made me very nostalgic for I guess my childhood, because what you just described was my childhood, the moshing, like the community, all of that stuff. And I remember feeling very safe in that type of environment. I want that to kind of be around a little bit more, because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like COVID really fucked up these kids. And social media also.
I think kids are just fucked up these days. You want to get me started on that one? You know, but it's going to take a young generation, someone from the younger generation, to bring it back, and it'll come back.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, maybe in the way that, like, I hear that, like, physical media is making a revival. Mm-hmm. People, like, getting, like, you know, the DVDs and tapes and records and everything. So there's, like, this retro appreciation that maybe will, like, lead to, like, a renaissance or something.
Yeah, I hope so. I think people are just getting tired of, like, just consuming things from, like, a distance. I think there's a need to want to be present in the moment.
Nothing better than being present in the moment and seeing a show. And you know, I think everything goes in phases and it's cyclical for all of us, right? You know, there's times when we might go out a lot and then we kind of taper it off and stay at home and, you know, watch Netflix and get fat, right?
Yeah.
But then we go out, we're like, man, I should do this more often. And then you do that for a while, you know, so you just ride the waves, right? You know, but I think in general, you know, people shouldn't be afraid to go see a show. The problem is, and it's, you know, we can call it what it is, but there's usually like a city that's involved with the challenges of why there's not good local venues. It's been gentrified. There's no parking. You know, everybody's got their hand out wanting a piece of the pie, looking at, you know, Ticketmaster, you know, Live Nation and all those other fuckers that charge double what the ticket costs, you know, just to go see a cool artist, right?
Yeah. That's true.
I've noticed, were you about to say something? Just that, like, working these shows now, and that, I'm not even super familiar with it, but now it's, like, apparently, like, really accessible for, sort of in that fashion, for these bands to, like, on their own, do, like, pre-sales and have it, like, just like a QR code scanned in and everything. So I don't know if that's a plus or not. I guess, you know, if the show is going to be viable, if there's a guarantee and all that.
See, that's when the line of pay to play comes, right?
Yeah.
You know, I know that you've done some concert promotions, and I'm an unwilling concert promoter right now. Benjamin Bach, really cool band, hasn't done a show in like 6 years. They recently had their debut. But we used to do these things back in the day at Foo Bar that was called Nerf or Nothing, and where everybody that comes brings a Nerf gun. And if you come in, we're at fucking war. You better, it's every man for himself, or choose a team or whatever, but there's a Nerf war going on. Nice. So be prepared. Harmless little darts stuck in their eye, right? So I went and saw them play when they had their return performance. COVID fucked them up, you know. Plus the hurricanes fucked up one of the guys, and his place got all ruined. And I think that was their jam spot too, right? So they hadn't had a show in 6 years. Great friends, went to go see him. And that's when he revisited the idea of, man, we should do one of the Nerf or Nothing shows. And I'm like, that'd be great, dude. Let's do it. Set it up, right? So, next thing you know, he's texting me like every couple of days. We're good May 6th, 19th, or whatever. Like, I'll throw dates at me. I'm like, set it up. Let me know what works. I got to check with Adrian because he plays with every band in town. Yeah. So, you know, we got a list of. I was like, I checked with Adrian. He told me he's available on this date, this date, this date, and this date. We got to make it happen on one of those dates. We could probably do it. Meanwhile, I'm still thinking he's going to set it up. So I said, May 9th. He's available May 9th. Let's set it up. He's like, I thought you were going to set it up. And I'm like, I've told him already, I am not a concert promoter. I've never done it. You know, I'm fortunate that everybody knows who Pigpen is, and they're like, hey, dude, want to play? That's how we exist. Well, so
you already paid your dues.
Well, so I'm like, all right, well, I mean, I know how to do this. I can reach out. So I ended up, reaching out to Tim over at Deviant Libation, and he says, you got to talk to Laser Mike. He does all my booking. And I'm like, oh, I fucking know fucking Laser Mike. All right. So I knew who to contact. I reached out. And so I set this Nerf or Nothing show up, and this is, I think, where we started the fork at, right? Because we talked about pay to play, right? Well, at Deviant Libation, there's a room fee. And it costs money to rent their space out, but they're providing the PA and, some quasi-security and a cool place and a cool vibe, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with it because every venue that we play at takes a cut to do the same thing, right? Yeah. If they're coming in through the door and someone's working the door, well, that's paying your bar staff and it's paying your sound guy and, all this other stuff going on, right? It's invisible at that point when someone just comes up and gives you some money, right? So anyway, got on the subject of this Nerf or Nothing show. I put it all together. Unwillingly, I said I'm not a concert fucking promoter, right? So I put it together. And then once I said, oh yeah, there's like this room fee. Like, no, we can't do it. We're not doing it in principle. No, fuck that. And I was just like, oh shit.
No, it's funny you mentioned that because I'd had this conversation with one of my bandmates recently, and he was discussing. We were talking about like a pay-to-play show, and when it came up, he had this like sort of like look of disgust, and as if it was like this like horrible thing. But I was like, unless there's something that I'm not seeing about this, it seems like pretty reasonable to me that if I understand like the dynamic correctly, it's like there's a band with somewhat established with some name recognition, and you're sort of like riding their coattails a little bit, but they also are getting some money from you, so it seems like mutually beneficial. So I didn't really understand why there's this like sort of like dirtiness or whatever about that.
It's all about perspective, really, because people think pay to play, and I think the immediate thought is, all right, guys, there's 5 of us. It's going to cost us $350 to play. So I need $70 from each of you, right? Did I do the math right? Whatever. That's the perspective. And everyone's like, fuck that. I'm not paying to play anywhere.
And when you call it that.
I think what you're talking about is when you've got a semi-notorious named band who maybe can't really pack a larger venue, but can certainly bring a good crowd to the Brass Mug. Hey, fill in a shitty band name that plays there, like something like
I'm not going to do it.
Aaron Lewis from Stained is playing the Brass Mug, and if you want to come and open up for him, we need you to sell these fucking tickets, right? Well, first of all, and we've been asked to do shows, not Aaron Lewis and Stained, but we've been asked to do shows where it's expected that the band does ticket sales, right? Sell these to your people, right?
Yeah, we have a show coming up where they're doing that. Yeah.
People don't want to do that because people aren't salesmen. I'm a musician, standing on my fucking laurels. Yeah, you're right. But everybody has to promote. You have to promote your own band. And if you don't talk about it, and if you're not down with talking good about your own band, then who else is going to talk good about it, right? So, you got to hype up your people. So anyway, the pay-to-play aspect of having to sell tickets, if there's a show that I think I could sell a ticket to, I have my favorite artists I would love to play with. And if I have to sell some tickets, I will put a link on my website that says, and I'll post a couple times a week, hey, go check this out, But the promoter who's asked me to do that, and there's several of them that are out there that do it, we have the agreement that I'm not a fucking concert promoter, but I'll share it with my fans, and if we sell some, great. Yeah. And then what happens on the day of the shows? I got to come there with my sack of money, figure out how I'm going to pay him all this money I've collected, and hey, dude, I was able to sell 13 tickets. Great, you can play last tonight. All right, it is what it is, right? Or you can play first, or whatever.
Yeah, whatever's the least.
Whoever's sold the least amount,
the least of benefit.
And I get that.
I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
As far as sort of the placement goes, I'd referred to this as the sort of local headlining spot, where it's kind of I guess second to last.
Absolutely
the
not.
Spot. No, you don't think so?
Well, I would not do a pay to play for a local show.
Oh no! What I meant is just sort of the placement of in the lineup of where it's sort of if you're opening, then people are just now coming in and they're not warmed up. But then if you're closing, unless it's someone who's a huge draw, then people are falling off.
See, even the huge draw, if you don't want to play after that.
Yeah.
That's a terrible spot to play.
Yeah.
I went and saw Teenage Bottle Rocket at the Mug, and I like that band, right? So I went to the show, and the place was packed until about halfway through the set, and it was about half full. And then by the end of the set, there's still a crowd there, but it wasn't the crowd they started with.
Yeah.
And then when they got done, everybody left, right? Who wants to play after them? Not me.
That's fair. What is your ideal spot to play if you're in a lineup?
Ideal spot in the lineup. That's a good question. Wherever's going to get me the most people watching my band play, if we're going to be honest about it. But no, typically not first and not last, although I prefer to play first than last. If I have to play last, you're going to get a different version of me and probably a different version of the band, because you're going to get a different version of me. Buster and Hambone, they keep their wits about themselves, but I tend to stray after a couple of beers, so hopefully not last. But I've learned with my handlers, they get me where I need to be just in time, so.
Yeah.
We always like to play like in the middle of the set. It was like the ideal spot because it's like late enough into the show where everybody who wants to be there is there. Nobody's planning on leaving just yet. We can get eyes on us. We can play enough to get the crowd worked up, and then dip out. And then by the time we're done loading everything up, we can still go sit down and enjoy the show.
If it's a 2-band bill, I don't care whether we are first or last. If it's a 3-band bill, I'd like to be in the middle. A 4-band bill, second or third.
Okay.
A 5-band bill, I'm already scratching my head going, this is going to be a shit show. Who's running this?
No, that's one of the shows I set up. Now, also, the people didn't know this. I know they're not aware. I think I wound up doing like 6 bands on there, and but 2 of them only had 15-minute sets. So I was like, it's going to go like pretty quickly. But I remember you had shared, which I don't think I was maybe intended to see this part, but a screenshot from your like with the Vindicators. I think it's Mr. Jim or something put. This is an interesting lineup. He says, but interesting is always a great euphemism when you hear that from the. Yes, I'm sure that's exactly what he meant. It was very interesting.
Mr. Jim has seen a lot of generational changes, and talking about scenes evolving.
Yeah.
He's got a lot more experience than I do.
Oh,
so probably much less of a tolerance of Jesus. They're called what? God, kids these days and their band names.
Well, since we're musicians, actually, like, what is like? We're on like the topic of like performing and everything like that. Like, what is your ideal set length? Like, I noticed for us when I was playing, it's like 30 minutes is like the ideal amount of time to play. Anything longer than that, it's kind of a process. And
35 to 45 is most of what. 35 to 45 minutes is mostly what we get.
Mm-hmm.
People that want us to play for an hour, you don't want us to play for an hour. Sometimes we get to 25-minute sets, if it's a bigger bill or whatever, or if there's a bunch of bands playing, you guys get 25 minutes. I think the sweet spot for us is like 35, 40, 41, 42, something like that, I tend to ramble. So I sing, but that's how I catch my breath, is being able to, like, ramble,
crowd work is important.
Yeah.
Like that's something so I had to do like a concert critique not too long ago for school, and like one of the things I put in like my notes for the concert was like all these bands that played, great bands by the way, all of them. It was at the Mug, but I was like, but none of them had any crowd work whatsoever. They were just, they go on, they play, and then they leave. Like, nobody was moving around. There was like no interaction. I think there was one band that literally just started and then just didn't stop playing until they were done. Like, it was like, I was like, oh, okay.
Here's the thing is, like, we all like to listen and consume music, but to really get the live element of music, nobody really wants to just go there to listen to the music. Otherwise, we'd have headphones and be at a silent disco, right? If we wanted to do that in public. But, people want to be entertained. And that's in the early days of Pigpen. What allured me to the band was that our bass player breathed fire in a jockstrap and a pig mask, right? When he quit the band, because, like, he had a kid and, life, and I had to learn how to do that shit. and you got to keep people's attention, like, what's he going to do? You can't do the same gimmick all the time either, because then you get stuck in a band like Pigpen wearing a mask for 30 years.
I mean, sometimes it works. I mean, you guys have a great gimmick. There's that one band that's around here. It's the frontman's a wrestler. He smashed.
Nasty Savage.
So, Nasty Savage, you're talking about Nasty Ronnie Galletti. I've met Ronnie a few times. I wouldn't say that, we're friends, he might know my name just because we're friends on Facebook, right? But I used to see Nasty Savage play before I ever picked up any instrument. And I was probably 16, and this is a cool, story, talking about old Tampa history. The Sunset Club in 1986, I'll call it that. Maybe it was 85 even. I was old enough to drive a car. So that was my freedom. I'd go anywhere. I would go to the Sunset Club with a fake ID. Turns out I didn't even need one. You could just let you walk in there anyway. And watched a lot of that was a very influential place for me because I watched bands that I wanted to listen to that wasn't the shit that was on the radio. That it was like, these guys are fucking doing it, man, and I was like this close to them, right? And heckling them too. And he said, who let these fucking kids in here? But I would go there. So I went and I saw Nasty Savage play there. This is probably 85 or 86. They had, maybe even 87, they had a huge riot in the parking lot. It was like basically the long-haired people with the skinheads, And there was women fighting each other, dudes, and I'm just like everywhere I look, I'm like, holy shit! But I didn't get involved, thankfully, because I was a pussy. I mean, I was raised by women, man. I didn't want to go over there and fight, right? But I was just like ducking behind trees, damn, but I was blown away by it. So Nasty Ronnie Galletti, I've seen him play quite a few times, the old Nasty Savage, and he'd throw up a TV, like the old CRT boat anchor, black and whites, the old color Tron, whatever they're called, and he'd big dude, throw it up in the air and smash it over his fucking head, and he'd be bleeding all over the place. And Johnny Dweeb, ironically, used to do that with light bulbs. Johnny Dweeb was the original singer in Pigpen, and whenever we'd stay in hotels, Johnny got ripped off on a cocaine deal, staying at a hotel, and he somehow ended up with somebody's driver's license who looked ironically like Brian Russell, who was our bass player. When he got fucked over on that cocaine deal, he was like, all bets are off with this fucking motherfucker. So we rented hotels under this guy's ID everywhere that we went, and pretty much every place got destroyed. What you could count on is Johnny would get the light bulbs before the show, and he'd pocket them, and then he would use them to smash over his head while we were playing live. And if we couldn't get him from a hotel, then he was getting him from the bathroom of the places we were playing at, right? But he always had like a light bulb in his pocket that he could smash over his head, so he'd start bleeding. Not cool. People don't dig that shit, right?
Yes. Who would have thought?
Well, if you're sharing like a mic, right?
I always bring my own mic as a result.
So that's something that I brought to my attention because there is this another Tampa icon. I wonder if I can get to talk to him one day. Jesus is what his stage name was. And he would do a lot of, let's say, bloodletting, to say the least. Yeah, and
he did the juju stuff, so he's kind of just banging his forehead with the microphone and
blood everywhere. Yeah. Sometimes urine, other things, and I remember my friend being like, I was like the only person who would ever play after him with the same microphone. It's nobody ever wanted to do that.
I mean, we've done shows with. There are things that like if you play with the Murder Junkies, you don't play the drumsticks after. You bring your own sticks, right? Yeah, man. I always have my own microphone in this place. Where these are technically my microphones. There's so many people in here when my band practices. Pop that bitch out. Put my microphone in there. I keep a can of Lysol on the back, and
well, that's good thinking.
I'm a little bougie, I guess, so I try to keep a nice place.
No, it's nice. Yeah,
that comes with wisdom. You've been around the scene, you know the things that you like and the things that you don't, how to fix them. That's good. That's not a bad thing. I think that's great. Wonderful. Do you anything else?
I would just say, because it sounds like maybe we're kind of wrapping it up, to make sure to give you the opportunity to promote anything you want. Make sure that you let everyone know about Underground Sounds again, and any details about what you do here and how to get a hold of you. And then also, as far as maybe booking for Pigpen or Vindicators, the best way to get a hold of you and to get that going.
Let's start backwards. Best way to reach me for booking anything, you can find me on Instagram, Bob Noxious. Facebook, I guess. I'm on there as well. The studio is undergroundsoundsstudio.com. You can Google it, Underground Sounds Studio. Might need to throw Tampa in there. Turns out, I guess there's something Underground Sounds in the UK somewhere. So
Yeah, I popped up on my Google Maps for like 2 seconds, and I was like, no.
It shouldn't take me that long to get there.
4,318 miles. No.
On a plane.
So for booking the band, you can reach out to me directly. We don't really have a management company that we deal with. For the studio, you can reach out to me directly, or hit up the studio website. For things upcoming, I know, this is going to be a podcast that kind of lives on in infamy. So without dating it too terribly, got some local stuff coming up. April 18th, Pigpen is playing at the Commodore in Ybor City.
Nice.
May 9th at Deviant Libation, we're doing the Nerf for Nothing with Benjamin Bach in Chilismo. I'd be remiss if I didn't say on the 18th show that we're playing with Twiggy Branches, which is members of the Cutoffs. This is their side project. I can't remember the guy's name. I'm brain farting it, but there was a band called Swans years ago. He'll be opening up that show on the 18th. That's the only thing local that we've got going on. Pigpen's going on tour with Wrath and the Wise Guys.
Oh, nice.
In July for about 10 days. So we'll be heading up to the Northeast, New York, Connecticut, up through there in Pennsylvania, and working back down and playing through the Carolinas and Virginia. Just going out there and 10 days of farting in a van together and making me realize, or making me question my life choices.
Well, that's a beautiful thing.
Is it a natural van, or do you guys get like an RV?
So the last time we went on tour, we hired Brandon Fergus, and he drove us around.
Oh, nice.
But we'll probably get like something in between a van and an RV, and nice. We haven't really discussed how we're getting around town, so I don't know yet. We'll figure that. The tour bus will be pulling up front somewhere.
As far as underground goes, the studio, maybe just for anyone that doesn't know, all the services you offer between renting the space and recording and all
Sure.
that.
So this is a 24/7, 365 operation. Predominantly, it's a recording studio, but I don't have that much work. If I did, I'd probably be dead. But bills and life and all that, rising costs require me to whore the studio out. So, yeah, I just put a basic back line up here. It's a plug-and-play facility for band rehearsals. I treat it like that Airbnb. Let yourself in, do what you have to do, police yourself while you're here, let yourself out, be a Boy Scout, leave it better than you found it, and it's going to be a great place that lasts for a long time for everybody, right? So yeah, I have a schedule that I take no real priority over, right? If someone wants to record with me and there's a day of rehearsals, I'm not going to impede on, the rehearsals. We're going to have to pick a different day. Unless I'm looking at that guy fucked me over, yeah. Sorry, you're canceled today. I got a real gig. No, but I don't do that. There's no favoritism. It's, pretty much a 2-week look ahead on my schedule, I won't let bands book more than 2 weeks out because, let's face it, musicians are flaky, and shit's going to change over a 2-week time. And here's what I had to change. I probably shouldn't even say this, but I had to make them pay. Like, if you want to use the studio, you got to pay ahead of time, because what was happening is like the day of, sorry man, we can't make it.
And now you've lost that slot. Yeah, no, that's pretty fair.
Yeah, so
no, that makes sense. Absolutely. Well,
some people fuck it up for everyone.
No, that's true. I mean, listen, so for somebody who's been around the block, I guess now, both like when I was like a snot-nosed punk kid from like the slums of Ybor, and like somebody's had to like come into maturity. I get it from both angles. It's like you want a beautiful place for people to come together and like have like that sense of community, but at the same time, it's like you got to hold a standard, because if not,
you know what? I think everybody means well, and I'd say 99% of the people who use this space they're respectful, right? Mm-hmm. And the 1% who are non-respectful, I'm just blaming on the fact that they're ignorant and don't know how to read. I've not had any real stories of things getting destroyed or ruined or whatever. So I mean, had a good run, a good lucky run, and hopefully it lasts for a lot longer, And
I'm sure the cameras with the accountability help too.
Yeah, I mean, there's no secret. Yeah, I put cameras up, and it's.
And you are close to Nebraska. You need a little extra money. You rent by the hour, so there's other things.
You know what? If you want to bring a lady of the night in here and bang on my couch, please bring a blanket and a towel at the very minimum, and just know that if I want to, I'm going to release that footage.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
So
that should just come with the terms.
Yeah. Well, so there are terms and conditions in fine print, if you will, when you rent the room. There is I don't remember what I put on there, but there's a camera policy. Basically, there's cameras in here. Whatever you do is whatever you do, and I'm not here to judge you.
No.
But I'm not saying I won't use that footage for nefarious means.
I mean, hey, listen, it's your place, right? I mean, that's what it's yours. That's why I feel about it. So it makes sense.
Hey, you came in here and did that stupid shit.
I love it. Well, thank you again, Bob, for everything.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Oh, and services. So rehearsal, recording, mixing, mastering. One of the cool things, and this will be the last story I tell, is I can now do remote mixing live with customers.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have a client who is up in Panama or Pensacola, one of them cities up there with a P in the panhandle. He's from Tampa, came here, recorded with a local group of guys here while he was in town. He left, went back home, I start mixing it, and I send him, my mixes, and sounds great, but, and he kept doing this thing where, kept nitpicking. And I'll get into a couple revisions with you, and Teddy will tell you, I'm going to call you into the room if I send you one or two mixes, if the third time you're like, yeah, can you do this? No, you could come into my studio and we'll mix this together. We'll walk that last mile together. So we're kind of reaching that standpoint. It happens, and sometimes I give them a mix. They're like, that's great, thank you. Through the abortion twins, they don't even let me mix it. I send them home with like a rough mix off the board. Next thing I know, it's on Spotify. Guys, I didn't finish the record. I didn't even mix it. So I lost my point on that, but what was I saying?
The services that you offer.
Yeah, you can do it remotely now.
Oh, we can do it remotely? Yeah. Sorry, man, I got a real short track memory. So this particular client, we're going back and forth, and it's like I got to get you in the same room, dude. So I come from an AV background, specifically, communication across boardrooms. And I'm like, how do I connect the dots from my day job career to what I moonlight as, or now my day job career, in underground sounds? Turns out there's just software that's already out there that does that. So I connected it, got it all set up, and it's amazing, man. So I was like, Mark, I'm not doing any more work for you until we're in the same room. You don't have to come to Tampa. I just need you to get a pair of headphones. And he's like, I haven't listened through headphones in years. What kind of headphones do you need me to get? I don't give a fuck, Mark. Just get some headphones so you can listen to whatever you can.
Well, so I'll say two things. One, having recorded an album with you, I'm not going to go into details, but I can promise you Bob is a very patient man that can put up with a lot and remain professional. A bigger man than I. Secondly, I thought also maybe as sort of like a portfolio to show your body of work, if you want to mention some of the albums, the bands you've recorded so people could hear it.
So things kind of exploded out of the gate. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, I'll open this place up and I'm going to end up having to foot the bill for a couple of months, right? I've never advertised. And I made a Facebook post, hey, check it out, I opened up a fucking studio. And I immediately had business. Admittedly, more than I could handle from the very, get-go. I've since caught up. What was the question again?
Oh, just some of the bands you worked with, so people can kind of hear it. Yeah.
A lot.
What's your shining examples so people can hear what you produce?
Well, if you go to the website, under community, there is showcase. So just go to the website, undergroundsoundstudio.com,
Excellent.
Community, and then website, and there's a large portfolio. To answer your question, Sandal, obviously Pigpen, obviously the Vindicators, bands that I've played in. Announced the Apocalypse, metal bands. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this yet because it's not been released. The Menzingers did some track work for a song that they've got. You put me on the spot. The Abortion
I think if I'm
Twins.
not mistaken, you did.
I can look in this back room.
I think you did Flag Burner and Headless State.
So Headless State, I did their full record. Flag Burner, they don't want me to mix their record for whatever reason, and they want to record at home, so they just do their drums here. The drums are recorded here.
Well, there you go. That's something. You can listen to those drums and the crispness of the snare.
It's true. Black Clash recorded here.
Nice.
I've recorded some bands. So my daughter, she's graduated now. She went to Blake High School, a performing arts school. And
that's where you went to, right?
Yep.
Huh.
She's telling me, cool. Yeah. She's telling me that about this band that plays at her school at lunch every day on their acoustics, and they're actually really good. And she shared a link. I'm like, oh, that's cool. She's like, they want to record with you. I'm like, well, tell them to hit me up. This is back when I first opened up. That's a funny story. So I'm thinking very little of it. These kids are 15. And I'm like, okay, I guess we can record if you want. And then they set a date, and I'm like, that's a school day. They're like, yeah, no, it's cool. And I'm like, all right, whatever, man. So the day comes, and they start getting set up, and they were called Bryce and Beans. And not Rice and Beans, Bryce.
I love the name.
Nobody named Bryce in the band, by the way.
Better.
That makes sense.
It's like Hootie and the Blowfish.
I think it was a friend of theirs, but nonetheless. So I had very low bar expectations for this band, and they're getting set up, and there's a knock on the door, and I'm like counting. I'm like, you guys expecting somebody? And I open the door, and it's like somebody with the Blake High School logo on their shirt, and I'm like, I'm looking shocked. He's like, it's okay. I know they're here. It was like their chorus teacher. And so these kids got the day off of school to come and record with me.
That's awesome.
So then I'm kind of like, this is going to be kind of cool. I'm going to have fun with this, man. These kids were phenomenal musicians. And this is a couple years ago. And I would say they're probably about still 2 or 3 years away from somebody in that band really being important because I was blown away. It was also early in my mixing career. That was one of the most meticulous guys. 15-year-old kid. His mom had to drop him off at the mixing sessions.
I love it.
Which is weird. They did this trilogy of mom songs, which they did not release.
Oh.
I do have it, and they've disbanded. I really wanted it to come to light of day, but they did a trilogy of songs about your mom.
I think Pigpen has one of those also.
Pigpen are all love songs about your mom,
yes, of course.
by the way. Yes. All of Pigpen is love songs, and most are about your mom. That's true. But these kids did it, right? And this song was like the courtship, the relationship, and then the aftermath of when, obviously, you can't, mom was just taking advantage of the kids, right?
Yeah.
Fucking fantastic songwriting. The songs were great. They took you from one end to the other, right? And I really wanted to see the light of day. But we mixed them with, right over there, the kid's mother on the couch. And I must have been about 3 shades of pink, purple, and red. I cannot believe I'm mixing these songs right now. And I'm just like, and she's over here, she's scrolling on her phone and reading a book. And I'm just like, I cannot believe that. It was so surreal. The band broke up. They took all their stuff offline. But those kids are going to be something one day because everyone were ringers of. They knew way more than I did.
No, I'll tell you.
Music. I'll tell you that.
We work I've worked several shows where there's those School of Rock things.
Yes.
And as part of it, I guess is they let them play a show a lot a real show to get experience. And there's nothing more disheartening than I'll see this 12-year-old shredding and just totally upstaging anything I could ever hope to do. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I was meant for this, man.
Been there. But that's the promising stuff that we need to see. Because soon enough, people are going to forget the art of playing real instruments. It's already kind of happening, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you play the guitar? Shit! it used to be
It's
you
like a
couldn't find a
novelty.
drummer.
Yeah.
Good enough is to be you can find a bass player, and those guys are a dime a dozen.
You're onto something with that because we did like a group like huddle thing kind of thing for like one of my job events that I had to attend, and we one of the questions that we asked to kind of like break the ice with people was like, who can play an instrument, and I was like the only person to raise my hand, and I was like, that's crazy to me. I don't know how you really like nothing, not a handpan. Nothing.
No, it's a funny thing because I've talked to people because like my whole life, essentially, like majority of my life now, I've played some instrument and like at least like tinkered with it, and so when it's almost alien to me to find people that aren't interested. I'm like, you don't want just like a guitar sitting around, even acoustic, to just like strum on sometimes, or I don't know. It's such like a great feeling.
I have 10 to 15 guitars strewn about my house. I don't pick a single one of them up ever.
If nothing else, it looks cool to have, in the back.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've got my favorite guitars, but I'm a collector by nature, so every guitar I have has a backup down to the pickup configurations, just in case.
No, that's right. I forgot I've actually been to your place. You had that sort of like satellite studio, and it's like a very impressive wall there of just like nice ass guitars.
So this is my studio annex, right, where I can record drums. I still can't record drums at my house, but I can record them here. My mix studio is at home, and you've been to my house.
Yeah.
That's my maybe that's the annex studio.
Okay.
I call it the mix studio.
Yeah. Hey, whatever you want. It's your show, man.
But yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I really
it's been an
appreciate
honor,
it. We didn't even talk about the podcast I did.
Oh, you know what?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay.
You guys got stuff to do.
In the future, if you ever want to
Save it
listen,
for
Bob
another.
has a killer podcast he did in the past. Just give him the name so they can look it up real quick.
I mean, if we get enough engagement, which I hope that we do, I would love to do like a part 2 at some point later.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Catching back up with Bob.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I would love to, man. So, good luck with bringing this back. It's long form. I appreciate it. It's cool.
Thank
For those who watched this whole thing, I'm sorry that you only had me to mostly look at, right? But you guys should get another camera so you can splice it all together.
It's a growing process.
Yeah, I get it.
Like I had a camera guy. I don't want to like got like too much into drama, but like I had a camera guy who like would do all of this stuff for me, and then he literally just disappeared on me, and I've been like, okay, well, I'm gonna keep doing this.
It's life, man.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna have to figure it out as I go, but I am getting there.
It's the story of my life, dude.
But I appreciate having like this DIY type of like build up, because if things get to where I want them to be, like I will have all that knowledge and experience to kind of just be able to like, oh hey, found this new person who wants to do an interview. We just head out. I can bring out a couple cameras and know that by the time we're done recording everything, I will have like a good turnaround and like a really nice product that I put the time and effort into. But I remember we were talking a little bit about like your podcast stuff and being like editing sucks, and like I am not looking forward to that part. But it's worth it though. It's worth it. It's growing pains.
Let's pay Bob. He'll do it. I'm sure he'll be happy to.
Yeah, hey, you know what?
It's another gig.
Time is money, no
Yeah.
problem. Well, that's the thing, I lost my corporate gig, and this is now my gig. I guess I got to... It's not the time to be selective. I do like to eat, right?
Indeed. Well.
Yeah, I'll take on whatever work you got. Editing,
You heard it here, ladies of the night in the space. Whatever, all your needs.
Go hit up my Fiverr, Bob Noxious. Yeah,
Wonderful.
Well, thanks again.
Yep.
appreciate it.
And we're done.